Hello and welcome back to another video on making content for Unreal Tournament, an original arena shooter from the late 90s. Since the last video where I was showing the content I was making for the new pack of maps and showing the process of making those, I thought it would be a good idea to try and reach out to previous contributors of the original packs from the, well, I say like 2005 time. So dusting off my old email from the early 2000s, I searched the term Woot to try and find all the old submissions and all the old contributors for the original map packs. One of them was from a guy I've known 25 years now. The email reads as follows. From Steve, no bot support, but the kickers should all link, and Loke can chase me around the map. For context, Loke was one of the OG computer-controlled players, or bots. If this guy turned up at a match, you would be absolutely cooked. Particularly for sniper maps like Facing Worlds. Steve needs to decide, is it good enough as a layout? I'm going to go ahead and download this and see what we can do. So this is the layout. So lots of connectivity, lots of different ways to move around. It's a capture the flag map, but it's missing the flags. So I'll just go ahead and quickly update that so we can play it as a capture the flag map, and then we can see what we can do with it in terms of layout, style and flow. The flags have now been added, so let's give it a play. Right, how does this play? So I can, interesting wall mounted bounce pads. I'm going to see if I can take the flag. Get across to here, yeah. So where does this one take me? I can get up here. I have to dodge onto this one. That takes me over here. So where does this one go? That bounces back up. What about this one? Oh, that takes me into the tunnel. Okay. That was taking my flag. Yeah, not bad. Oh. So it's, yeah, I mean, it's got some good, I like the different levels. So it is it's a fairly simple layout, but it works. I think at the time, this was Steve's first map, so it's impressive that he started using things like vertex editing and stuff to get these kind of these shapes. So what would I do to update this or sort of improve the flow and stuff? I'd probably look at the different routes you can go through. So you would have one that was like low risk, but then maybe took more time. You'd have a high risk, high speed route, and then a kind of medium one. It does depend on what game mode you're playing. So a lot of the time with the Woot maps, you'd be playing with Instagib. So every single shot would be a kill if you actually managed to hit someone. Versus the traditional Unreal Tournament weapons where you've got like a variety of things, so not every hit is a kill. So if you get hit by an enforcer or some other kind of lightweight weapon, you're not going to die instantly and you can kind of limp your way through the level still. Whereas with the Instagib, if you're going exposed routes, the chances are you're going to be wiped out straight away. So I've made a few tweaks just to make the architecture a bit more interesting, so I just added in some recesses. Steve G, or Dead Meat, this was his icon on the forums back in the day, so I managed to find it in Google Images, and now I've added it to the walls, sort of in Hobbage. Done a bit of work adding some detail to the Woot pads. I've added a back wall behind the flag, so you don't just fly off the map if you happen to bounce off it. That was something that happened in a lot of my maps, was when you're flying through the air, if you land, sometimes the friction doesn't kick in on the floor and you can just ricochet off like a bullet and fly into the void. So I've added a wall behind, so it's a bit more forgiving in that respect. But other than that, no real changes so far. So we got our So yeah, I think it mostly works. I think there could be some more connectivity. I'd removed the tunnel because I've basically remade some of these blocks here. So in the next update, I've added a bunch of trim. This was common in a lot of custom maps, is you just kind of add edges to everything. It just makes everything look neater. So instead of there just being, if I just delete this and rebuild, you'll see, it looks a bit boring without something then overlaying the edges and stuff. Also, I've added some more team color coding. But yeah, no real big changes. Oh yes, I did add one more thing there. So I've added a pillar here with an extra kicker. There's now an extra kicker that takes you over here, but still not entirely happy with the layout. Again, yeah, I can't steer into here. So if I just quit. So when you jump on the pads, they'll obviously push you across and land you at the same place every time. But what you can do is, if you're an advanced player, you start steering in the air. So you can, it doesn't make any sense. You couldn't really steer yourself in real life in the air, but in the game you can. So what that means is you can change your trajectory mid-flight. So you can land different places, and that's part of the joy of when you're playing these maps. You can kind of move around more skillfully. So the better you are at controlling yourself in the air, you can find faster routes to move around. You know, I'm being aimed here, but I could press left and then land over here instead. So that's part of the skill of playing the Woot maps, is using that air control to then change where you land and be less predictable to the enemy. So skipping right ahead now to the final version, all I've done is added a bit more in terms of height to the map with these towers. Added some lights around to them. I'm not entirely happy with the lights. For some reason I can't get the brightness right. So there's another route up the side here now. So if you take this route here, if you get the big keg of health, and then you can come in from this side. You can also access the flag from here, like so. And then finally put back in the tunnel route that was in the original map, but change it up a little bit so there's more headroom, so you're not going to bang your head as you enter it. And some other things. So obviously putting some pickups in, so there's a shield belt in the middle. You got various different weapon pickups, some ammo. Up here you've got the U damage, you've got the sniper rifle. So if I just quickly walk through the level. So right here we've got the flak cannon. Got some cover here. Again, this is the sort of slightly slower route. It's a trade-off. You can come out here instead and get the shield belt for some extra protection. Do get keg of health here. Just take the blue flag. We can head back this way, so we can go a number of different routes. We can go ahead and take this way across here. So that would have been... I can also go straight from this pad, but it depends if you're trying to do some kind of evasive maneuvers. So we can go across here. I might change that. I didn't mean to accidentally daisy chain those two pads together. What I want to do is, yeah, how did I do that? Oh, from here. Was it from here? This should just land me. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. So ideally I wanted those central ones to just land you maybe over here. I didn't want it landing you directly on this one, because especially for the bots, they need they need to be able to land in terms of figuring out where they go next. If the bots just bounce from one to the other, they can't. They act a bit strangely. So yeah, we've got our little separate route down here, and if I go down again, one more layer, I've got like the minigun, thigh pads. I think there's armor. That'll take me up here and go across. Oh yeah, and then finally there's a hidden route down here which takes you back up to that same pillar with the keg of health. And back to the flag base. But yeah, I think overall, I mean, I didn't spend too much time on it. And the main thing was just trying to add some stuff like the usual, just some lights, some trim, just changing on the connectivity a little bit. So as usual, I'll put a download in the description, and at some point so I'll put a download of the in-progress map in the description, and then at some point, hopefully in the next month, I'll release the entire pack with all the finished maps. So yeah, so that was Tweaking a Map from 2006.